The last episode of Loki has now premiered on Disney Plus Hotstar. And along with some good things, some bad things have also happened in this episode. Basically, this episode is telling us who will be the real dangerous villain of Phase 4. We heard many voices at the beginning. We heard the song that played in the Avengers Endgame, the Time Variance Authority, Loki versus Loki, and the one who is controlling this whole riot from somewhere else. Aside from all of this, Disney Plus has also announced Season 2 of Loki, which production will start in January 2022. But now, let's take a closer look at what happened in this episode. In the intro, we get to hear the last song of the Avengers Endgame, as well as the voices of many Avengers and other characters. We heard this song in an Endgame, when Steve Rogers went back in time to be with Peggy. Along with all this, we also get to hear the dialogues of Steve, Tony, Sam, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Korg and the other MCU characters. Following that, there are also several more dialogues that overlap here. In the midst of which, we also hear the voices of the people of the real world. We hear iconic dialogues from Neil Armstrong, Greta Thunberg, Malala Yousafzai, Nelson Mandela and Maya Angelou. In the midst of which, we also hear the voice of Vision from WandaVision. Along with these dialogues, we also saw multiverse and sacred timeline. Hearing all these dialogues means that all these events are happening in different timelines. And all the events that are happening are being monitored by He Who Remains sitting here. So, everything Miss Minutes told Variant Loki in the first episode turned out to be true. And the multiversal war really took place, which was not won by TVA, but by He Who Remains, that is Kang. And then he created TVA. So that there would never be a multiversal war again. Meaning that somewhere what this guy is doing is right. But snatching people's freedom and their life from them is also wrong. This thing also happened like Thanos' logic, that Thanos wanted to do good, but by sacrificing half of the population. So even if this character wants to do something good, then he should do it by sacrificing something that belongs to him rather than sacrificing the lives of millions of variants. Apart from this, a situation with two Thanos was created here too. The first Thanos died after doing his work, while the second Thanos realized that his work could be reversed, which made him even worse. Maybe something similar could happen with He Who Remains. This variant of his has some good principles, but who knows if his other variant is pure evil. The actor who played the role of He Who Remains was Jonathan Majors, who will play Kang in the upcoming movie Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. However, he was asked in the middle of the season of Loki whether he is in this series or not, in which he said that he didn't know what was being talked about, which was a good distraction. But one detail is very important here, that in the whole series, it is not said that he was a Kang. Even in the subtitles, the character was referred to as He Who Remains. In Marvel Comics, He Who Remains first appeared in Thor issue 245, as the final director of Time Variance Authority. And here too is the same person, whose variant is Kang, and we will see him further in the MCU. And in the upcoming times, many variants of He Who Remains can be seen wreaking havoc in the MCU. It is very clear that this episode has been changed in the middle of the series because we did not get to see the two shots seen in the trailer here. First, the shot of Loki becoming king, and the second where Loki says, "Glorious," in Stark Tower. Kate Herron, who is the director of this episode and the executive producer of this series, when she said that they completed the work of the last episode of Loki after the premiere of the first episode. So it is clear that the ending of the show has been completely changed. And seeing the popularity of Loki, they decided to renew this series for Season 2 on Disney Plus. And to prepare this series for the second season, changes were made within the final episode. Along with all this, the writer of this series, Michael Waldron, will also have to be praised. He has written this series in such a way that no matter how many episodes and seasons are brought to screen, all these events are happening outside of time. So, isn't everything disturbed here? The answer is no, and He Who Remains even told Sylvie that whether she kills him or not, the same thing will happen in both cases. So, let us consider both the cases. If Sylvie hadn't killed He Who Remains, then He Who Remains would have given them both to handle the TVA. And everything would go on as it is. And even if Sylvie had killed him, as in the series, many more branches would still be created. And in the 31st century, many variants of He Who Remains will meet each other, and those who are good will do something great, and those who are bad will start a multiversal war. After which the one who wins will make TVA, and will ensure that multiversal war never takes place and branch timeline is not created. So clearly it will be an endless cycle, and that is why when Loki reached TVA, everything was reset there. He didn't reach that TVA where everything was in turmoil, but he arrived in a new TVA where everything was going on as before. But here, in front of them is the problem of many branches that have crossed the red line. So now what will happen in Season 2? Basically, two things can happen here. The first is that it will take this Loki to convince the TVA that they are all variants and he who remains is controlling the TVA. But everyone will catch him and give him the job of analyst. And the second is that it will be TVA's job to go to different timelines to meet he who remains and to stop the multiversal war. To be fair, the matter has become very bad. Far from being a multiversal war because even the branches of branches have started forming here. And how someone will be able to solve this will be known only in Season 2, which will benefit the fans. Maybe it will show us the 3 Spider-Man in Spider-Man No Way Home. This can also be the reason for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the reason for Deadpool coming to the MCU, the appearance of the Fantastic Four, to make Wanda heard the voice of her children, introducing humans, mutants and many more superheroes to the MCU. But something sad also happened in this episode that Mobius could not sit on the jet ski, Loki failed, Sylvie finally decided to take revenge, and maybe the evil Kang is now ruling the TVA, whose look is also comic accurate. In addition, we will know in the next season where Ravonna has gone. He who remains is also called Emperor and Conqueror in his different names. In Marvel Comics, when Kang is ruling Egypt, he is called the Emperor and the future Kang is called Conqueror. So basically, Phase 4 is only about the multiverse, and its villain has been announced today. And recently came the commercial of Deadpool and Korg, in which they are reacting to the trailer of Free Guy. Seeing the photo of Kevin Feige and Hugh Jackman together, many fans will even start making multiverse theories. So, this was the breakdown of the final episode of Loki. If we've missed any details or if you have any new facts related to this, then let us know in the comment section. If you've enjoyed this video then don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe this channel for more content like this.